Just a short introduction. Bianca Mina is a Romanian film and TV writer, director, and producer. And I'm very, very happy that she agreed to speak with us about her experiences because I'm just going to talk to you now. You are behind some of the most successful serial drama among Romanian teenagers, as we found out during our focus groups. And I'm very happy we can really speak about how this experience of screenwriting was for you. I always wonder how it is to develop a story that keeps people engaged month after month. This seems very difficult for me.
So that's the question?
Yes.
Well, first of all, I think it comes down to truth, because the more honest you are about writing things that people can relate to, the more successful the series become. And especially in our format, which is, we have a show that it has to be weekly on television. There's no excuses. You always have to be on. You always have to send a script. It's not like, for example, in cinema, you have time to develop over years a script and what you want to say. Whereas in a TV series, that's, the whole season, the whole year really on TV, you have to always be finding inspiration. And it's pretty much about what I said. It's about finding the truth and thinking what I want to see and what interests me, in getting inspiration from things that are happening, things that I hear. I live, for example, next to a high school in Bucharest, and sometimes I'm like the weird person that goes and listens to what the high schoolers are speaking about. And also experience, having studied for a long time and seeing what works. There is a dramatic format that we follow that has been tested. You need to know how to construct compelling stories and from a dramatic point of view, how to end your scenes with cliffhangers so that the viewers want to know what happens the next week and things like that.
How do you develop a character? Because some characters seems not your characters, but in serial drama, usually they are a little bit stereotypical so that people can understand them right away, isn't it? But some serial drama try to fight that stereotypes.
Yes, generally all drama has stereotypes. Ever from the beginning of times of developing, the dramatic form, there is archetypes. Let's not call them stereotypes, yes, but archetypes. And you usually can construct good drama by starting from your archetypes. Of course, in a simple way, you can just refer to like the good characters and the bad characters, because any dramatic, structure needs conflict. So that is your bread and butter, basically. If you don't have conflict, you don't have a show. So the opposing forces, I think it comes down to that, like opposing forces create compelling stories. But yeah, I know what you mean. I try to stay away from that. We work in Romanian television where the audience has a certain expectation. And of course, you want to have a love story. But at the same time, I try to make my women have also, interest in, passions and work and things like that. It's a long way, we've come, I believe.
I saw that for different serial dramas, there are teams of screenwriters. You don't have just one person.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are teams of up to 6 people. How do you work? How do you write in a team?
Well, I think the most I worked with was 5 writers. And it kind of depends on the project. Some projects do a writer's room where you discuss the season stories together, and then each person writes their own episode. You have to be in such good compatibility, because if you're not on the same page with your writer, oh my God, it can be very messy because you have to continue each other's thoughts. For example, I write with a fantastic co-writer on my shows, Radu Grigore, and we are just like we don't even have to speak. We like can continue each other's thoughts even when we're sleeping. And sometimes like I don't even talk, and I'd send him the script, and I'm like, let's see how you continue that, Radu. And then I read his episode and I'm like, wow, good job. And so it's kind of fun like that. Cinema, TV, it's teamwork. If you don't work with others, you can't really work. So yeah, it's hard, but like sometimes when you find the right person, it can be magic.
Do you know from the very beginning where the story goes?
No. No. I don't know sometimes what happens on the next episode.
Oh, this is interesting.
Sometimes I know I end on a cliffhanger and it's like a big crazy twist, and I'm like, well, we'll just see next week what we do. And it's kind of fun. Of course, it doesn't work in all formats. For example, if you work for a platform like Netflix, I have a project now. And of course, when it's 5, 6, 8 episodes, you have to know exactly where you're going to end and how. But when you work, for example, on Romanian network, and I have 46 episodes this season, and in total, some of the shows I've written have had 158 episodes. There's no way. We don't have time to think that far. And you'll have to allow a certain flexibility, because you get influenced by the viewership, by the audience. I have people writing me. Sometimes I have a lady that writes me every episode, so I know what she likes. And generally, I notice that they really care about the love story in the show.
Perfect. I read recently that some actors at Hollywood complain you cannot do comedy anymore because it's not safe. Somebody is going to feel attacked in some way. But Room 609 is a comedy, and it's a very nice comedy. Of course, it's not always safe. And I was wondering, how do you feel about this, writing comedy that is not always safe?
Wow, what a great question. I often think about that. Uh, I love comedy. I studied comedy. I've had great mentors, BAFTA award-winning directors that I worked with. I even had a mentorship with the Seinfeld director in Los Angeles. So for me, comedy was always like, I hope to return to comedy actually, because I love comedy. And it's true. I always look for good comedies these days, and I like don't find it. And I go back to the old comedies because they were so great. It's unfortunate. I feel like, yeah, comedy has been a little bit the victim of our times. Maybe we can go back at some point and realize it's okay to laugh about differences. However, you do have to make tasteful comedy because, as on Romanian television especially, like you can have some very crude comedy, and I don't agree with laughing at people, but it's okay to uh, make jokes about things, for lack of a better explanation. But I believe that in Room 609, we found a good balance of constructing jokes, and from also like dialogue and also situations. And I think also in Romania, we don't have as many restrictions as when it comes to comedy as it would be in the US right now, or UK. But at the same time, I don't think particularly that what I'm writing would be very offensive, because I'm not an offensive person. So I think, it does come to the personality of the writer after all, because, we have a saying, write what you know. So if a person has been raised in a climate of, this discriminating others, of course, his comedy won't be that funny, will be offensive to some.
Yes. Thank you so much. It was really enriching for me because I don't speak every day with somebody that writes serial drama. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.